Andrew, my name is Brittany, and I'm going to be doing your writing screencast response. You did not have an author's agenda posted at the top of your paper, so I'm going to go with the focus elements for this lesson, what we should have been focusing on, and letting you know how you did on that, and how your piece is in general. Okay, I love your intro. Sometimes I want to scream. Then instead of screaming, I read. This saves my brain and saves my voice and feeds my brain. I liked the word feeds, saves. Those are good, vivid words. Falls under the second focus element of using precise language and kind of hooking your audience. I liked that intro as well. Sometimes I want to scream. Makes me immediately want to read on and see why. Let's see. I wonder, though, how that intro could be enhanced by using more figurative language, more precise language, such as a metaphor, maybe, or a simile, or even an analogy. Because down here, my brain has spent a lot of time in front of electronic screens, and it needs all the saving it can get. I feel like there could be a really good analogy, metaphor, or some sort of simile to compare your brain to a computer screen. Kind of to hook those two things together, just to use that more precise language that we were called to use in this piece. But otherwise, it was a good lead. It really did capture my attention right away. So let's see. Okay, this sentence, first, students get to choose their own books and keep track of their progress. That the first focus element was to develop a topic thoroughly. You are supposed to give concrete details and significant and relative facts, and that's a pretty concrete detail. They choose their books and they keep track of their progress. Short and simple, to the point. I liked that. No fluff there. Then I liked that teacher isn't making an assignment. That the teacher isn't making an assignment. There is no agenda that a student has to look for something specific or write an essay board on this book explaining a theme or symbol. That gives more of a description of what you just said, that they get to choose and keep track of their progress. So I think that was a very relevant fact. It was a good example that also falls under developing your topic thoroughly using an example. So that was good. Let's see. Another concrete fact or relevant and significant fact that I saw or example is that this next paragraph, she gives her reading expectations to the class. This is not a way for them to waste time in class. They are expected to read between 100 and 150 pages a week. Those numbers right there are very concrete. You can't dispute that. That's a fact. And then it's even supported with an endnote. So let's go to that endnote. This gives a lot more information down here without really bogging up the writing up above. That part of your classroom management, and a way to check this in your students, is to send around a clipboard having them mark their page progressions when class begins. I like that that's in there because I actually did wonder that. I'm reading Ray's textbook, so I have not read this section out of Kittle, if that's how you pronounce that. But I was wondering how the teacher figures out if they've read 100 and 100 to 150 pages. But if they're tracking and writing down on a clipboard, that makes a lot more sense. And then I thought immediately, they could be lying. And your next sentence addresses that. Of course, some kids may be saying they read further, a little tiny grammatical error, that saying they read further than they didn't, but those occasions are what the student reviews are for. I like this because it's really holding students accountable, and your endnotes are answering all of the questions that are firing through my head. So you are giving a lot of examples. You are giving concrete details as well as significant and relevant facts. Let's go back up to where I was before. I like that the expectation is given out up front, this next sentence. Again, another concrete fact, because I was wondering how you kind of set that tone for your students. So I thought that was good. The next sentence, you connect it to yourself in your own classroom. One of the things I've learned from my limited time in the classroom is how a teacher needs to have everything lined out and explained. I like that connects to your own classroom. That's good. I wonder, though, how that could be enhanced through figurative language. I bet you could find a fantastic metaphor or simile or something about having everything lined out and explained and comparing that to something else that needs to be lined out and explained. It would give your audience something concrete to grasp onto, and it would be a little bit more engaging. Let's see. Also, your final sentence of the writing prompt, this sentence, also important, students themselves are drafted into doing their own reviews using the same guidelines that the teacher uses. I like the word drafted. I feel like it's very vivid, but it immediately makes me think of the Army. And so, because they're being called to do something, they're being drafted, they're being recruited, I think that would be a great place for some sort of precise language, for figurative language, a metaphor, a simile, an analogy. I think that would really enhance the conclusion of your writing prompt, keep those readers engaged, and to use that strategy of ways with words and vivid verbs. I think precise language there would really enhance the ending. Let's see. Part of developing your topic thoroughly with one of the focus elements was the use of endnotes, and I think you did a great job with that. Your endnotes are very thorough, add a lot more detail that, geez, if those were put up above, we would really be swamped with detail. But it's really nice that they're down here. I've never used endnotes, and I really like them at the bottom. I really like them a lot. It just gives so much more detail that you wouldn't have to include up in your writing. Makes your first writing piece very short, simple, to the point, with concrete facts. And then down below, you give all of your details. And yeah, your details and descriptive parts of the story. I like that. Or the writing prompt. Your use of endnotes is fantastic. I do feel like you could add a little bit more precise language throughout your writing prompt to make it fit the focus element more, but also to make that really engaging for your audience, very inviting, and it could be funnier, it could be passionate, any which way you choose to take it, but using those elements, the vivid verbs, the metaphors, analogies, similes, is really going to hook your audience a little bit more and help you develop this how-to into a wonderful, engaging, short and sweet piece. So you did a great job, but I would encourage you and suggest looking for ways to incorporate more precise language into your piece. Thank you.